word of the day today is thinking. And it has to do with us as fans, and it has to do with the leagues as well. In Philadelphia, it has always been a very blue-collar town, and it's always been a town that valued toughness. But is our thinking sometimes counterproductive to success? Okay? And I'll give you an example. Tyrese Maxey is the most recent example of this. Now, he ends up getting hurt with the back injury yesterday in the Sixers' loss, but he's been playing as a right-handed player with 3 working fingers on his shooting hand. Okay? He's been trying to suck it up, and we appreciate that toughness and all that stuff, right? But he's been playing with 3 working fingers on his shooting hand. And lately, he shot. Yesterday, from 3, he was 1 for 7. He was 2 for 13 overall before the back injury from the hard fall takes him out. The Golden State game, he was 2 for 14 and 0 of 2 for 3. And he didn't take that many because the game before, in 44 minutes, he was 12 for 32, which is not so bad compared to how he's been shooting lately. But he was 0 for 10 from 3 in that game. 0 for 10 because his hand isn't right. But he's trying to suck it up and play. And in actuality, when he's playing that poorly, he actually went from like averaging over 27 points down to like 26 due to this recent skid. But it's not about individual stats. But he was hurting the team in a way by being out there because he was compromised. But we value that so much in the city of Philadelphia. Ultimately, we've seen it when players can pull it off. Lane Johnson in that first Super Bowl playing with a tear like he did is amazing. But there are many times, and Ricky Bo, when he speaks, will be able to vouch for this, where playing hurt is detrimental to the team, thus detrimental to us. The last time we saw Joel Embiid before he was medically, it was proven that he couldn't play through his knee, he was playing terribly. He was hurting the team by being out there because he was hurt. But our way of thinking in Philadelphia is always toughness and more and doing more. And really, I have to ask you, is that way of thinking positive anymore? Is the way we demand that toughness, does it always make sense with our success? Now, if you look at the Eagles just now, obviously there were players nicked up, and you saw what happened when Dickerson went down and Jurgens comes in heroically for a half and plays. But he was able to get a shot, and then he was able to be effective when he was out there. If he wasn't going to be effective when he was out there, it would have hurt the team to be out there. And I don't think we necessarily look at that kind of nuance when we talk about this. And the Maxey thing happened last night where I'm never happy when a player gets hurt. But I'm like, if he can sit down for a while with his back, maybe they'll allow his multiple fingers that he does need to play a sport to heal. Many times I think our mentality, our way of thinking is not always the right way. Also, if you look at the Eagles season, for the most part, relative to NFL football, they were pretty darn healthy. They were pretty healthy overall. And that led to partially, in my opinion, to their successes. They had good injury luck along with very good sports science. And that's why 2 of the last 3 years, they're one of the last 2 teams standing, and they're pretty healthy. But is our thinking the right way to go? And when we get into the question of the day later, I think that's going to be telling as well. I just think that sometimes we're too brave and too tough with someone else's body. It's one thing for you to suck it up in your life. It's a whole nother thing to tell somebody else to suck it up when you can't feel their pain, Ricky Poe.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And I'll go back to the Kenny Rogers song. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, right? You have to know when to walk away. That sometimes is something that players nowadays do a lot better than me in my day did. Because I'll tell you right now, what I did was absolutely stupid. I pitched with a torn labrum for 3 years. 3 years, when in reality I could have gotten that thing fixed. The first year I would have missed 4 months, come back, I would have been fine. Instead, it took a complete shoulder reconstruction to do it because you're doing so much damage to yourself that you don't even know it.
Right.
And the funny thing is that if you saw me pitching a game, you wouldn't have noticed, because what was happening is, like, when you warmed up your shoulder, you didn't feel it anymore. But as if you saw me warm up before the game, you'd be like, oh, this guy, something's wrong with him. I mean, I couldn't throw the ball 20 feet at times before a game. And then you warm up, and gradually it feels all right, and it loosens up in there, and everything's better. But I will say right now, when I look at what the Phillies do right now, if you have a little injury, they will sit that player down. They don't even mess around anymore. And I think it's more because of the money these guys make. I look at the Tyrese Maxey injury. All you have to do is look at his stats, and you'll know something's wrong with him. And it started after that streak. He had that long streak of 25 points or more. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, he hit that one road bump, speed bump, and you were like, whoa, what's going on here? And it turns out that obviously he's having problems with his fingers. A basketball player cannot be very good shooting a basketball if his fingers are hurt, especially when you have two of them taped together. You're not going to be very, very good. And I think it goes back to our blue-collar type city, that they want to see guys out there all the time. And it's not that easy sometimes. And I think nowadays, because these players make so much money in baseball, they will sit them down for 3 or 4 games just to get them back.
Protect the asset now.
Protect their assets now. Back when I played, I mean, think about it. We went with 5 relievers. 5, can you imagine them trying 5 relievers now?
No way.
It would never work. It's just not in the cards anymore. And there are certain things. I mean, the injury I had, if I was a starting pitcher, it would have been completely different, because you get a Toradol shot every 5. Kurt Schilling had the same thing, except for he was able to get the shot because he was a starting pitcher and I was a reliever. Sometimes you just got to take the pain. Were there days that I would have said no, like if I really thought yes? I mean, there's definitely days I probably should have said no, but I wanted to be that guy that went out there through thick and thin and pitched through everything.
But is that mentality, and we're going to talk about this today.
Is that mentality still there?
It's still there clearly with Maxey and some others.
I think it is with a minimalized number of players now.
But it still lives with the fans. And is that always the right way to look at it as a fan? Because are you actually getting more from the player by making that demand, or you end up in the long run getting less?
But there is a dependency on this, because if you look at Tyrese Maxey, he's not get it fixed. Do whatever you need to do. Take a week off. See how it feels after a week, because he's not getting his job done. His job is to score points, not pass the ball.
Right.
And right now, that's all he is a passer, and he's not shooting threes. He's just not shooting the ball well. Period. But I think you could get away with it in certain points. You brought up the Super Bowl. I mean, if I'm injured in the Super Bowl and I feel like I could get a shot and I could make it through and everything will be fine, then I'm playing in that Super Bowl.
Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. Really appreciate it. If you want more of this content, make sure you like and subscribe. And you can do that kind of over here if you want more of the best show ever.